What's up? It's Alexander Madison, running back from the Minnesota Vikings, and you're watching Clock Management.
Knocked down. Oh, he caught it! Oh, unbelievable! This is amazing. So you played in the NFL. What's longer, a half or 5/8? Or
5/8 is a little longer there, Joe. Your team is now on the clock. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. It is December 27th, 2019. I'm Justin, and as always, I'm joined by Perry.
Hey, Justin. And I was thinking, if you were a phaser on Star Trek, you'd be set to stun.
Nice. I've heard that one. That's how I know I'm nerdy.
Darn it.
I've heard that one, but not a lot of the other ones.
Oh, man. I got to step up my game then, dude.
Yeah, so thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you tap that subscribe button with your mouse button.
Yeah, or your finger. I mean, if they're watching on their phone, Justin, come on.
That's true.
It's almost 2020 here, okay?
Yeah, call your internet provider and tell them to subscribe to us for you.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, so it's just after Christmas, Perry. Well, first, what are we talking about today, Perry?
What are we talking? Well, it's week 17, so we're probably going to talk a little bit about why are we talking about things during week 17, because we shouldn't be, right? You guys shouldn't be playing in week 17, but here we are, and we'll bring the content to you because you're doing it. So, okay, we're going to talk about some injuries. There's a lot of players sitting this week because it's week 17. Seeding has already worked out for the playoffs. So, they don't need to play their stars. They need to rest their stars to get ready for the playoffs, or they just, nagging injuries. There's no point in playing with them at this point. So we're going to talk about a lot of guys that are sitting this week, give you some options on what you can do if you are playing this week and you do have people sitting. And I'm sure we'll talk about why my voice sounds like I've been chain smoking cigarettes for 3 weeks. So,
spoiler alert. It's because he's been chain smoking cigarettes for 3 weeks.
No, it isn't. All right. We'll get right to it. I'm in Colorado for the holidays visiting family. It's really, really dry here. And you know what? You guys are going to learn something about me right now. I'm an open mouth sleeper, okay? I sleep with my mouth open, all right? I don't know. I can't just breathe through my nose. I don't know how people do it. My brain needs more oxygen than the average person, maybe.
You're processing all this fantasy football information while you're sleeping. Perry?
Exactly. It's very here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you broke up there for a second. We're good. So you guys know Perry is on vacation, so he's dialing in from the remote parts of Colorado, yeah.
Yeah. So sorry if I cut out, but what I was saying basically is my throat's dry from sleeping with my mouth open. So now that everybody knows that, we can move on. So Justin, what's new with you? How was the holiday? Did you have a good time with the family?
Yeah, just spent time with the family. We're going this weekend up to Whidbey Island to visit my parents and my nephew that's out there
right
visiting.
On.
So yeah, that'll be exciting.
Awesome. And any plans for the new year?
We actually haven't figured that out yet, which is weird because I normally figure it out like 4 months in advance. And this year,
yeah, normally you host.
Yeah. I think we're just gonna go out to a cabin somewhere this year.
Oh, cool. That's what we're doing. We got a cabin out in the mountains and gonna go out there and just relax.
Yeah, it should be a good time. Good way of bringing New Year.
Awesome. All right. Well, where can people find us, Justin?
That's right. We're on YouTube, obviously, because you just subscribed. We're on Spotify. We're on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all over the place. Oh, man.
That's right. We're all over the place.
Perry, you want to get us into some news?
Yeah, I've got some news here. Something that actually just broke this morning. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Justin. Antonio Brown is working out for the Saints today.
I did just read that.
Yeah, pretty surprising.
So I read last week that 16 teams were talking to him.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what their game plan is with him, because if he is signed anywhere, he's probably going immediately onto the commissioner's exempt list, which means he's not allowed to play until this investigation's over with. So I don't think he'll be playing anytime this season, even throughout the playoffs. Maybe this is a play for next season. I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I actually picked up Antonio Brown in our dynasty league about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I just threw him on my bench because I thought maybe something might happen like this. We have a really deep bench in that league, so I would advise other people maybe go ahead and do that. If you got some room on your bench in a dynasty league, Antonio Brown could be sitting on there, right? If he doesn't play, that's fine. If he does play and he's Antonio Brown again,
Perry,
you win.
You're the John Gruden of our dynasty league. You just love that drama.
No.
Drama.
I don't want any of the drama, dude. I just want the production. Okay, I just want the production. All right. Anyways, another big breaking news. I'm not sure if you guys already covered this earlier in the week, Justin, but Marshawn Lynch officially signs with the Seahawks.
Yeah, it actually broke like minutes before the last episode I recorded.
Oh, okay. Week 17. Are you?
No, I'm not
to start Marshawn Lynch.
No, I'm not trusting him because it's week 17. It's his first week back on the team in 4 or 5 years, and then he also is playing against one of the best defenses in the NFL. It's just not a good matchup, not a good situation for him. And he's 33 years old, so.
In a really deep league, like one of those 16-team leagues, I think Marshawn Lynch might find the end zone this week. I think he's only going to touch the ball maybe 12 to 15 times, 15 times being max. It might even be less than 12 times. But I think he might get a goal line carry or two, and he might find the end zone.
Absolutely. I was actually talking to someone about it. I'm like, I would not be shocked if he gets carries inside the 10 and he happens to find the end zone.
Exactly.
But that's what you're banking on with him. You're not expecting beast mode or the Beast Quake 2.0.
No, I don't think you're expecting that. But I think in a deep league with all the sits happening this week, Marshawn Lynch is a viable start in certain situations. But again, you're not expecting.
Who would you rather start, Carry-On or Marshawn?
Marshawn. I'd rather start Marshawn Lynch, to be really honest with you.
I think I go Carry-On.
Yeah. I just think that there's too many healthy running backs on the Detroit Lions, whereas the Seattle Seahawks, Chris Carson is gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Rashad Penny's gone. They were literally down to rookie running back Travis Homer last week, who did fine. He did fine.
They just brought in Robert Turbin too.
Yeah, they did. But Robert Turbin is
it's a package deal. He's just forever Marshawn Lynch's backup.
No, I think I'd rather start Marshawn Lynch. It's a game. It's a really, really important game for both the teams playing in it. But for the Seahawks in particular, right, they're behind. They want that home field advantage. They're far, far better at home than they are on the road. This is a really important game for Seattle. And I think that they're not going to hold back. I know they're saying there might be a snap count for Marshawn Lynch. But, man, they got to win this game. And Marshawn Lynch was good last year when he played for Oakland. And I think we could see something similar out of him. He's probably very healthy. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's healthy. I just think, he's a little bit slower than he used to be and going against that number one or number two defense, depending on what you're scoring.
Sure. Sure. I think
it's just a tough matchup.
I think in a like a 10-team league, you probably have better options. A 12-team league, probably better options. But if you're getting up in there in those really big leagues, he might be your best play.
Yeah,
so.
I could even see in a 12-team league throwing him in a flex if you need him.
Great. So Mike Boone is now officially the starter for Week 17 for the Vikings on Monday Night Football. This isn't really surprising news, as the Vikings are pretty much sitting all their starters. So Dalvin Cook, we did not expect him to play. Alexander Madison is out with an ankle, the same thing that's been bothering him the last few weeks. No reason for him to play. Their seeding in the playoffs is set in stone, so Mike Boone will be the guy. Now, I think if all the starters were in, Mike Boone would be a no-brainer for me. But with starters sitting, Justin, how do you feel about Mike Boone?
No.
No?
Yeah, it's going to be minimal offensive production. They're not trying to win that game, so they're just trying not to get anyone hurt.
Sure. Man, with all the sits, it's really hard to decide, these kind of things.
Yeah.
Mike Boone, I would play him over Marshawn Lynch, if that gives people an idea of how I feel about him, if you're trying to make that decision. What do you think?
I would play him over Marshawn Lynch, but not by a lot. I actually like Kerryon more than both of them for this week, but that's just because I'm swinging for the fence there.
Okay. Some more guys that are out this week. Dwayne Haskins, quarterback for the team up in Washington, he will not be playing due to an ankle injury, amongst other things, like it being the last game of the season, and they have no chance of making the playoffs. Mark Ingram is going to sit this week with a calf injury. I know you can't see me, but I did throw up the air quotations there. I think the Ravens, they've locked the number 1 seed down, man. They don't need to win this game. They don't care about this game. They do care about the playoffs, and they care about Mark Ingram being healthy. So both him and Lamar Jackson will not be playing in Week 17. You need to be prepared for that.
And I've heard Andrews might be a late scratch, but as of right now, he's in.
I would expect Mark Andrews to not play. He's been dealing with nagging injuries all season. They will have a first-round bye in the playoffs. They should just give him the full 2 weeks. In my opinion. So, and if he does play, and this is the case for anybody that we talked about today as a possible sit, if it says, Mark Andrews is in, he could only play 1 series, right? Yeah. And then be done for the remainder of the game. So, don't risk that. I would not risk it. I wouldn't risk it with any Ravens starter. Okay, we talked about Chris Carson with his fractured hip. Let me move on here to some more news. All right, lots of injuries to talk about in the NFL this week. Derrick Henry, who he was a scratch last week, correct? Am I wrong in thinking that? Okay. He practiced in full on Thursday. I expect him to play this week, Derrick Henry. I expect him to play, and I expect him to do pretty well against the Texans, who aren't really playing for anything, right? They've locked down the number 3 seed in the AFC. So I actually like Derrick Henry a lot this week, and assuming he plays, and I am assuming that he will play. Leonard Fournette has a neck injury. Oh, yeah?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. Leonard Fournette has a neck injury. He did not practice on Thursday. I'm not too concerned. He doesn't seem too concerned about his availability heading into Sunday against the Colts. I guess we're going to have to see what the participation to know for sure. So just maybe we'll tweet that out if he is sitting to let everybody know. But yeah, Leonard Fournette, I do think that he'll be fine, that he will play. Let's see here. Kyler Murray was limited in practice Thursday. He's got a hamstring injury. The Cardinals aren't playing for anything, right? They can't make the playoffs. That division's insane with the Niners leading that division and the Seahawks. So Kyler Murray, I wouldn't be surprised if he sits Week 17 or doesn't play a full game. So be prepared for that from Kyler Murray. A lot of this, Justin, is the same thing, man. It's Week 17. Be prepared for a player not to play. We did our championship Week 17 the first year. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was horrible.
It was horrible. It was good teams or suddenly horrible teams because all their starters weren't playing.
Yeah, all the people who got you to the championship aren't playing.
Right. Dak Prescott does have a shoulder injury designation going into today, Friday, and into the weekend. But as Dallas still can make the playoffs, Dak Prescott will most likely be on the field. They lost last week to the Eagles, which, I mean, almost shot themselves in the foot, but they still have a chance to make the playoffs if they win. Philly loses. There's also wild card implications there. So Dak Prescott should play. He should play the whole game, assuming he doesn't get injured during the game. So you're okay to play Dak. We talked about the Vikings. Adam Thielen probably not going to play. Terry McLaurin, concussion protocol. I've discussed with you about the concussion protocol all season, Justin. We just don't know. It's all based on how he clears these stages of the protocol. So would you be willing to play Terry McLaurin with Haskins out if he does play?
No.
No.
I think there's better options. I even like Sims a little more on that team this week.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. Let's see here. I had a couple more. Jordan Howard, limited at practice. We've been enjoying Miles Sanders without Jordan Howard there. Jordan Howard might play, right? They need to win this game.
He's expected to play.
Yeah. So what are you doing there?
I'm still starting Miles Sanders because they need to win this game, and I think they're going to lean more on him with Howard just coming back from an injury. Because if they do make the playoffs, they don't want to be playing without Howard.
Right.
Which, I mean, I'm fine with it, but...
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I'd still start Sanders. I would not start Jordan Howard if you were even thinking that. Don't do it. And I think that you're right. I think that he will play because they waived Jay Ajayi this week, which means Howard is probably healthy.
And expectation management, Miles Sanders isn't going to get you 30 points this week.
Right. Zach Ertz, who took a real tough shot to the ribs against the Cowboys last week. He actually broke a rib, but he was able to return to the game, which and caused me to lose the championship. So thank you, Zach Ertz, for returning to the game with that broken rib. You didn't need to, but that's okay.
He also caused me to lose a championship because he returned but didn't put up a lot of fantasy points.
He put up enough, man. I lost by 2 points. Anyways, Zach Ertz, if he plays, I play Zach Ertz. The fact that he returned to the game last week is probably a pretty good sign that he's going to get out there. It's a broken rib, which means it's basically pain management. I'm sure they checked him to make sure there was no internal damage, and I'm sure it's just a broken rib. And as long as he can manage the pain, he will play, and he's going to get peppered with targets like he always does. So I would play Zach Ertz if he's in.
Yeah, Goddard's also a good option. I think both those tight ends
honestly
start.
Yeah, Goddard is getting a lot of the end zone targets too, which is...
Yeah, because they have no wide receivers there.
No, they don't. So you can start both. That's a good point. Deshaun Watson was limited at practice on Thursday with a back injury. I said before, they've locked up the third seed in the AFC. They cannot move up or down. They're third seed. Deshaun Watson probably doesn't play or doesn't play very much. So I probably am not going to roll Deshaun Watson out there this week. Josh Jacobs, Justin. What are you doing with Josh Jacobs with that shoulder, man?
If I am Gruden, I'm sitting him and letting him get healthy. But since I'm not Gruden, he's going to be out there playing. I don't think that I'm going to trust him this week because it's week 17 and I don't know how relevant he's like. They still technically have a shot at the playoffs, but not really. They need a lot of things to happen in their favor. So by the time their game happens, they may be eliminated from the playoffs.
Dude, I would love Oakland to make the playoffs. How crazy would that be?
Oh my God.
John Gruden would look like an evil genius. DJ Moore, concussion, sidelined from practice on Tuesday. as far as I know, he still hasn't practiced this week, DJ Moore. He's unlikely to suit up for week 17. Curtis Samuel will be the top wide receiver with DJ Moore out. I actually like Curtis Samuel as a start this week if you're losing, Diggs or Thielen or one of those guys that has gotten you to week 17. Curtis Samuel might be the guy to start there with DJ Moore out. Do you concur, Doctor?
I concur.
Okay, great. All right. Let's see. I think that's all I had here. Yeah, that's all the news I had, Justin.
All right, let me get into some news no one cares about. As Christmas just passed and December still continues, I got a happy news no one cares about here. Matthew Stafford brought presents for Christmas to a home of two boys that had recently lost their father on Christmas Day.
Oh, man. That's tough, but that's really nice of him.
Yeah. And then Lamar Jackson surprised all of his offensive linemen with Rolexes.
Well earned.
Yeah.
Well earned.
And the impressive part about that is Lamar's still on his rookie contract, so that was actually a big expense for him.
I'm pretty sure he's getting some juicy endorsement deals right now. Oh, yeah,
from Rolex, hopefully. The Steelers, they've been spending time coming together playing, I'm going to try and pronounce this right, Bingo. It's a kind of a board game, has to do with big marbles and golf. I don't really understand it, but they've been playing that on a pool table.
I feel like you're just making this up.
No, it's on ESPN.com.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, I'm not making it up, but they might be.
This is truly news I don't care about.
I just want to see them playing that. It sounds ridiculous. Marshawn Lynch shows up to practice for the first day and opens his car door, and a sea of Skittles flowed out of his car door when he opened it. Did you see that? It was ridiculous. Like he was waist high in Skittles in his car.
That boy does love Skittles.
And then last piece of news no one cares about. Marshawn Lynch has a classic Marshawn Lynch press conference. He came to the podium and they asked him a bunch of questions, including like why he decided now to come back, why the Seahawks. And he sits there until they finish like 4 or 5 questions, and then he just responds with, I'm just happy to be here and be part of the team. And then he turned and walked away.
If nothing else, at least we get those press conferences back with Marshawn Lynch, man. I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's why I'm on here this morning. Justin was about to fine me.
Yeah, there was a fine coming.
Yeah, I'm just embracing my inner Marshawn Lynch at this point. That's awesome. Well, I have a few guys here, Justin, as possible starts this week / streams. Yes. If you're missing people, I know you've got a couple too. You just want to get into it, maybe.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, I've got a few quarterbacks. You want to start with quarterbacks?
Yeah, that's where I was going first. I'm gonna throw this one out here for you, Perry.
Oh no,
Drew Lock.
Oh yeah.
He's got a good matchup this week. They're playing against the Raiders, who have a horrible defense. So he should do pretty decent. He's been doing okay for a quarterback, but he did show that he can do good against a poor defense the first week he started. So I expect him to do pretty good this week, and so he's just someone who you could grab and throw in there.
I actually agree. I think Drew Lock is a pretty decent start this week. I've got a couple of guys ahead of him that I'd like to get in there, but the Broncos aren't playing for anything except for eliminating the Raiders from the playoffs.
And that's a lot. Let me tell you,
yes, people here in Denver, I'm here right now, dude. I can feel it.
This is their Super Bowl.
Yes, we do not want the Raiders to make the playoffs. Forget that. screw them. So yeah, Drew Lock is playing for something, so that's not a bad start. I was going to bring up Ryan Tannehill, playing the Houston Texans. The Texans are probably going to be sitting a lot of their starters. Ryan Tannehill has been one of the best quarterbacks in fantasy football over the last few weeks.
Man, how bad is Miami? He's one of the best quarterbacks. One of the best running backs last few weeks is Kenyon Drake.
Right, I know, man. I mean, he's had 23 or more fantasy points in the last 3 weeks. I think he's just going to keep rolling with it, man. I think Ryan Tannehill's a great start this week. If you're losing to Sean Watson, just go to the other side. I really like Ryan Tannehill this week. He's my top guy to start if you're trying to stream somebody to replace somebody much better.
Absolutely. If he's out there, you start him.
Yeah. I've got 3 more actually quarterbacks that I can drop real quick, unless you got another one.
I'm just going to throw out this one real quick. Jacoby Brissett's another one. I like Tannehill more, just to be clear, but Brissett's less owned. So if he's out there, you could grab him and throw him in. He's been playing pretty well, and he's playing against Jaguars, also another bad defense against the pass. Yes.
I'm going to do this in order of how much I like them. It starts with Ryan Tannehill. Then I go Tom Brady against the Dolphins. The Patriots are actually really playing for something here. They need to win this game. They're going to make the playoffs either way, but they're playing for home field advantage, that sort of stuff. So Tom Brady, really like Tom Brady against the Dolphins this week. Then I got Dak Prescott against the team up in Washington. Dak Prescott's playing banged up, and let's be honest, the Cowboys have been extremely unpredictable and pretty terrible. So that's the reason Dak Prescott is so low for me here. And then Carson Wentz is my last one that I want to talk about. Against the Giants, Carson Wentz they need to win this game. And Carson Wentz has been okay, scoring 18-plus fantasy points in the last 4 games. The Giants aren't all that good. They've given up 11 passing touchdowns over the last 4 weeks. I think they continue that trend. Carson Wentz is probably a pretty good start. But I think the key point here is I would rather start Ryan Tannehill than Dak Prescott. Definitely.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah. Okay.
You want to do running backs?
Yes. You go first.
All right. I'm just going to – one of these I already talked about. I got Kerryon Johnson. I think he's a streamable option. And then also DeAndre Washington if Josh Jacobs doesn't play.
Okay. Yeah, I like DeAndre. He's a possible sleeper this week. I've got Marlon Mack against the Jaguars. Marlon Mack has been kind of iffy through the middle part of the season, but he had a huge game against the Panthers last week. So I like Marlon Mack. Some people may have forgotten about him. Raheem Mostert against the Seahawks. I like Raheem Mostert. I think against the Seahawks defense, that is just a name at this point. They haven't been good for a few years. I think Raheem Mostert could have a big week. You already mentioned Kenyon Drake. If somebody's not starting Kenyon Drake and he's available, you're going to lose. Start Kenyon Drake against the Rams, and then Miles Sanders. Of course, we've talked about him. He should be started even if Jordan Howard is playing.
All right, let's get into some wide receivers.
Okay. Yes, fire it off, bud.
All right, so Chris Conley from the Jaguars. This is kind of a deeper one. I think that he's a person who's out there who's readily available, who could have a good week if you're in need of a wide receiver with some of these people not playing. He's finally back to being fully healthy as of last week, so you should be able to see some good production out of him in a PPR league.
Yeah. First guy I want to talk about is Courtland Sutton. I think Courtland Sutton's really let people down through the playoffs, right? Courtland Sutton probably lost a few people some playoff games, putting up 3 straight just terrible games. But against the Raiders, who have given up 13 touchdowns to receivers on the perimeter this season, I actually really like Cortland Sutton this week against the Raiders. I think if you've got him, you got to start him this week. Brashad Perriman is on my list here. It's kind of obvious. Last week, he didn't have that gigantic production that we were expecting. Basically, he didn't find the end zone, right? But he did have a good week, Brashad Perriman. So, us telling you to start him, that actually worked out. And the last one is Sterling Shepard against the Eagles. The Giants want to play the upsetters here. They want to upset the Eagles' chance to make the playoffs. So I really think that the Giants are going to play for some pride here, and Sterling Shepard could be the guy. You got any more wide receivers, Justin?
That was the only one I got for wide receivers. And okay. As I said before, I like Sims from the Redskins.
Right on. You want to do? You got any tight ends? I've got two of them here.
Me too. One I already mentioned with Goddard. I like him this week. Okay, I'll let you go with the other one just in case I steal that one.
My other guy is Tyler Higbee.
Okay.
Against the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah.
Okay. My other one is Mike Gesicki from the Dolphins.
Okay.
I really like Higbee this week, though, just so you know. I actually was just doing some research on him, and he is my number one tight end this week.
Yeah, Higbee against the Cardinals looks really, really good. If you have that Week 17 championship, he could be the guy that wins it for you this week. Okay. Some good defensive starts. I've got the Saints against the Panthers. It's a great start this week. The Patriots, of course, if you own them, you've been playing the Dolphins. And then the Rams against the Cardinals.
You cut out there for a
Probably
second,
going
Perry.
to be a pretty. Oh, okay. What did you hear last?
Just start back.
Start back. I was saying the Rams against the Cardinals is a good defensive stream this week to win you a championship. Okay. That's it. That's all I got, man. What are you working on over there?
So, I mean, that's all I got for today's show. We got we're going to be moving to 1 week one show a week after this episode.
Yes.
We got some big names in the fantasy football world coming on. We got Fantasy Couch coming on to our show, and some of the people from BDGE, Big Dogs Gotta Eat, coming on our show. So that should be fun. And I got a surprise coming for you guys for Super Bowl weekend. We're gonna keep it fun. So.
Oh boy, yeah, it should be good. So, like Justin said, we are going down to once a week here for a couple months probably. We might throw a bonus episode out there at some point. We're going to be covering all kinds of stuff this off season. A lot of football related stuff, but maybe some not so football related stuff. We might have some fun with it, but we will be here all year getting you ready for next season. The draft season starts Monday after the game, right, Justin?
Yes.
After Monday Night Football, the draft season officially begins. We will help you prepare all off season. So,
if you're in that 96-man league, then you'll actually be starting your draft the day after the Super Bowl.
Yes. I just want to end this podcast. I've been on vacation the last week, but I've been paying attention to Twitter and to YouTube, and we've been getting a ton of support this week. Our subscriber numbers have shot through the roof this week, and I just want to thank everybody that has subscribed to us. It's awesome. This was just a hobby for Justin and I when we started this in June.
Yeah.
It was just for fun. We were him and I like to talk about football, so we decided to do it and record it. And now we've got almost 600 people subscribe to us. So Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Okay, I stopped.